morning, everyone. What a lovely day. What a lovely day. We are small yet mighty today. Everyone who needs to be here is here. And together we raise the consciousness of our community and our world. And so we begin our lesson today with scripture. And that scripture is taken from Matthew, the 10th chapter, the 39th verse. And it reads, "By finding your life, you'll lose it. And by losing your life, you'll find it." This is one of 6 almost identical scriptures in the New Testament that refer to the words that Jesus spoke to his disciples before they went out to spread his teachings. The scripture is paradoxical, which is how Jesus often spoke when he was teaching the gospel. Today, the meaning that we will be looking at behind this scripture refers to the changing of consciousness, the changing of our consciousness from being focused on material comforts and ambitions to living a spiritual life. And the affirmation that I chose for our lesson today is, "I live, move, and have my being in God." God lives, moves, and has expression in me. And so we begin. Last Sunday, we celebrated Easter, the biblical story of Jesus' resurrection. And in unity, we look at resurrection metaphysically. We understand it as an awakening in consciousness. It is a release of what no longer serves one's needs to a greater expression of life. That is why, to me, it made perfect sense to talk about consciousness today, to follow up on the celebration of Easter last Sunday. And so the title of our lesson is Your Consciousness. The story of Jesus is one of the most celebrated stories of the evolution in human consciousness. Throughout the ages of human history, there are countless stories that we can point to showing how human beings have evolved in consciousness to be that which they came here to be, that which we were created to be. Folks like the Buddha, Confucius, Muhammad, Lao Tzu, as well as Jesus. In unity, we are so blessed to see and to appreciate all of these spiritual leaders for their contributions to the birthing of a greater reality for all of us. And as Jesus shared with his contemporaries, We are all equipped to do great works, regardless of how and where we began our lives. Think about that. We are all equipped to do great works regardless of how and where we began our lives. When we believe and live from the consciousness that we live, move, and have our being in God, and God lives, moves, and has expression in each of us, then we can not only dream a world that works for all, we can create a world that works for us as individuals and a world that works for all humanity and everything. Because when we believe and live from a consciousness of unconditional love, and that's what God is, unconditional love, we are living from a place of unlimited possibilities. But in order for each of us to evolve in consciousness, each of us is required to transcend those things that hold us back. Every time we release fear in favor of faith, and every time we let go of resentments in favor of forgiveness, we rise in consciousness. Think about it. Letting go of resentment in favor of forgiveness. Letting go of fear in favor of faith. Your consciousness is not fixed. Know that. Believe that. It is not fixed. In fact, your consciousness refuses to stop expanding. But beware. There is an internal push-pull going on in almost every moment. Part of ourselves wants to remain at a level that we're comfortable with, comfortable in our thinking and being, while our inner guidance, our inner divine guidance, is gently pulling us forward to a greater expression of ourselves. And as we teach in unity, we can renew our minds. We can renew our minds. We're not limited in our thinking and in our expression. However, it is a choice. You have a choice. If you choose to stay in a mindset that limits rather than expands your thinking and behavior, that choice not only limits your growth, it affects others as well. Believe it. The energy of such choice has a ripple effect. It's not static. Think about it. Have you ever walked into a room and you notice the energy is a little off? There's a negative vibe that makes you want to leave? Yeah. I see the head heads nodding. Yeah, we've all been there. And on the other hand, another person can enter that same room, bringing with them a luminous energy such that it transforms the entire atmosphere. Yeah. Yes. The consciousness of one is that powerful. Your consciousness is that powerful. We are interrelated spiritually and humanly. That is why a single decision in one part of the country can impact the whole. That is why it is important that we are aware of the consciousness, the thinking and feeling power that we bring to any situation. I'd like to share a very personal example of this. My great-grandparents were enslaved. A law was written denying them and others who looked like them their rights to live freely as human beings. The law even said they were less than full humans. That law represented a consciousness that subjugated an entire group of human beings. But my ancestors refused to accept that level of thinking and being. They listened to their inner divine guidance that informed their thinking and feeling nature. They refused to accept their circumstances. They denied that it had any power over them. And eventually the outer circumstances caught up with the divine guidance, the divine call to express a higher consciousness. New laws were written. New behaviors were established that acknowledged all people are to be treated with respect and dignity. As humans, we have two very powerful internal forces pushing in opposite directions. The drive to maintain our existing identity and status, and another drive to grow, to evolve, and to become more than we believe ourselves to be. Today, I am here speaking on the importance of understanding those internal competing forces and the need to evolve and grow and live at our higher spiritual potentials. As I noted in my opening statements, Jesus and other spiritual way-showers showed how human beings evolved in consciousness over millennia to be that which they were created to be, to live their spiritual potential. They served as examples to us that we too are fully equipped to live from love, to do great things. None of us is destined to be enslaved, mistreated, or denied our rights to live and love freely as human beings. And none of us is destined to mistreat, enslave, or deny others their rights as human beings. We are all spiritual beings in this human experience. We are all divinely ordained to live, grow, and evolve to our highest spiritual potentials. We are all here to transcend the old and embrace a new, higher consciousness in every generation. We're not talking about skipping any generations. In every generation. And so may you know always, and may you act on this knowing that the Christ in you still lives. The Christ in you lives today and every day. And so in closing, I invite you to repeat our affirmation for today and for the rest of this week. Together, I live and move and have my being in God. God lives, moves, and has expression in me. Let's say that again with more oomph. I live, move, and have my being in God. God lives, moves, and has expression in me. Thank you, and have a blessed week.